Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and yeah, a little bit of localish jams in the form of Autodidact. It is their Wash Grisette. Full disclosure, I've had this beer before. I've actually had it twice. The first batch, I had a sip of it from when I went to the opening with my buddy Keith from 93 Lumber, and then this time I actually had it on draft. I actually went to Autodidact today. It's kind of a weird. I don't know. It's not that weird, but breweries constantly reach out when you do videos like this and stuff like that, and they reach out and they're like, "Hey, you want to come down and just hang out for today?" I was like, "Okay." I didn't know what was going on. Maybe I was going to get ambushed because I did a poor review of theirs, but I went there, hung out the one run. There's two runs, and we hung out and just chilled and talked about beer all day. It was a really good time. Drank some stuff out of the Brights and just pretty much just hung and chilled and talked about music and beer and all that kind of fun stuff. And I ended up having this twice while I was there, so I'm a little bit kind of already pre-versed on it, full disclosure. So let's see what's what. We'll dive into it. It says Wash Grisette, just nice kind of soft wheat kind of background to it. 4.5%. This is a Autodidact beer. That's all it says. It was canned on 7/20. Today is 7/26. And we'll dive into it. We'll see what's what. I do know a little bit about the beer, obviously, talking about the beer all day. It's actually a mixture of a Belgian and a French Saison yeast. So we'll see how the sucker shows and proves. Throw the whole thing in the glass. I do like their labels. I do think they're quite slick, quite nice. Turns out that the Ron that I hung out with today, he was a graphic designer in a previous lifetime. So it kind of makes sense that their labels are kind of slick. Not that they couldn't have hired somebody or came up with something slick on their own. Just kind of makes sense. As far as this glass goes, because it's dirty, because I'm in a shed. Yeah, I mean, it's the part of a soft, it could be a hazy pale ale, could be a Saison, could be a Grisette, could be a bunch of those different things. But it has that soft kind of pear juicy kind of haze to it with just under a piggy finger of white. It's white to be head. Let's see if we get a nose. Yeah, it's a soft, sweet graininess. Not heavily wheat leaning, even though I think there's some wheat in there. And then and there's almost like a slight lemoniness to it. That could be a little bit of the yeast phenolic coming through, but the yeast leans definitely a little peppery, subtle pepperiness with a definite Belgian influence. There's a subtle kind of bubblegum banana thing going on here. Nothing's over the top. Nothing's heavy-handed. It's in equal parts with the way the malt kind of comes off, but it definitely kind of leans a little bit more, and we talked about this when we were drinking it. Leans off a little bit more Belgian. Now, Ron was like, a little bit too much for me, but I kind of cut my teeth on Belgian beers, so it kind of works for me. It smells nice. Smells a bit more beefier than something that comes off 4.5%. So nice grain presence, nice yeast phenolics, a little bit of soft, maybe fruity hop. Like I said, that lemon is more, could be yeast thing, but I think it might be just a touch of kind of slightly citrus coming off a hop. Let's just dive in. Cheers, y'all. It really, for me, does follow through almost exactly to the taste. It's clean. Very clean. Almost like lager-esque kind of clean as far as how it drinks. Usually when you think of Saison, you think of Grisette, you think of things like that, you think a little bit more muddled, a little bit more, I don't want to use the word dirty, but something not as clean as this, but it comes off quite clean. That graininess with that little touch of kind of what for me comes off as wheat, I don't know if that's in there or not, kind of comes through. Again, that lemon peppery thing, just very, very subtle, kind of fluttering back and forth. And then you have the star of the show here, which is that Belgian yeast phenolic that comes off very much kind of like a soft little wash out kind of bubblegummy thing for me. Bubblegummy banana-esque. Again, not overpowering here, but you give this to me blind. I think I'm assuming that it's like a Belgian wit. Somebody's Belgian wit, or maybe somebody's Belgian influence, kind of Saison. Those are the two directions that I would lean with something like this. But it's really well done. There's nothing negative here as far as off flavors go. And as a Grisette, it's probably one of the more impactful ones I've had as of late. Not that you find a ton of Grisette around. It's not a super popular style, but I've had my fair share. And they usually tend to come off a little bit more muted than this. Again, we're not kind of beating down the door of flavor here. It's a 4.5% beer. The way the grains kind of come off, the way that little bit of yeast on the spicy side of things kind of works with that fruitiness, and then, again, that little bit of Belgian-esque kind of bubblegummy kind of a banana-y thing kind of floating in there. Takes you on a little bit of a ride. A very fun beer. Really well made. Really clean. Really crisp. Very tasty stuff. I don't know what else you want me to say about it. I mean, it's not anything super funky. It's not trying to be an Americanized weirdo version of a Grisette. It is a drinking beer. It is a sub 5% session beer, worker's beer, as Grisette is meant to be. And it pulls that off in a really great way. I dig it. I dug it. Let's put it this way. I had 2 beers. I had more than 2 beers when I was there, but I had 2 beers that I had twice, and this was one of them. And there was a reason for that. So I kind of knew going into this, unless the can was going to be markedly different than the way the actual draft came off, I was going to dig it, and it kind of followed through. Actually, not going to say I like this better, but being kind of separated from the brewery and then not being surrounded by noise and conversation and other beers and stuff like that, it kind of stands on its own, a little bit more sturdier. And I like it this way. I like it a little bit. My little man cave back here, drink a little bit of Grisette. Does not suck. So, one of the better Grisettes I've had as of late, yes. Mount Rushmore status almost defaults to there because I can't tell you the last time I did a Grisette. In the grand scheme of things, really all made me up there regardless. Value and availability, I actually don't remember what I paid for it. It came in a 4-pack. It's a Grisette, it's 4.5%. I'm hoping this comes in the small brewery, new to canning. I kind of hope we're at $15 or less. Don't know if that's the case. If it's not, it is what it is. And leave you with if you like what you like this. If you like Belgian beers, you like Grisettes, you like Saison, and you like them all to kind of meet in the middle, because that's where this one really kind of hangs its hat. It's a little bit of everything. Works out really, really nice. But the great thing about it doesn't come off as this weirdo, hopped up, kind of let's challenge you with a bunch of stuff. An Americanized version of Grisette. It almost tastes like, a countryside Grisette of somebody that has a lot of influences from over there. So it very much has that kind of European feel to it, but from a brewery that's just down the road. Doesn't suck. So there you go. Review in the books. Autodidact. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Have you had this beer when they first released it? And have you had the most recent iteration? Those are fun conversations to have. All that fun stuff down there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Grisette right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.